we're going to be doing, that's okay, Renati. We're going to be doing some algebra work. We're going to be working with products. Hi, Alvarez. And for some of you, this is going to seem like a good piece of revision. So it's stuff that we would have done in an earlier course. And so I'm going to be counting on you to give me a whole lot of answers as we are walking through this. Okay. Can I get an idea of who in class has already done something that looks like this? So something that looks, that's called distribution, that your teachers would have said, and the question looks something like that. So if you have done this in class, can you give us a thumbs up? And if you haven't done it in the class, can you give us a thumbs down? Hi, Sebi, welcome. Alvarez, you've definitely done it because you were in my course with me. CM Tanda, I'll ask Eric to try and send you a direct message. Oh, he can't hear me say that. But Eric can hear me say that. Okay, lots of thumbs up. So this is very positive. So I'm hoping that this is going to go super well. We're going to fly through algebra. Don't worry, Jasmine and Latabo, we'll be fine. We'll get through it. Okay. Cool. You just finished doing factorization. Okay, we're going to be doing factorization soon. I think it might be our next course, actually. I don't know why. Algebra is fun. Okay. All right, guys, I am just going to turn off my video today because my internet's being a little bit dodgy and I don't want to drop off this call, but I'm right here. Okay, I'm just on the other side of the screen. Okay, so let's try and go through this step by step. Those of you who have done it, you are going to help us in the group, and those of you who haven't done it, you can just walk through it step by step with us as we go through it. Now, whenever we talk about algebra and we talk about multiplication or we talk about division with algebra, there are 3 letters that I try and get people to remember. So anyone who is in my early courses of algebra, can you try and remember what those 3 letters that are important are? My hint to you is movies. Let's see if anyone remembers those important 3 letters. You can either type it in the chat or you can put your hand up and we can talk about it. Yes, Roma. Yes. Okay, we are on a roll already. I'm excited. Yes, Asongia. Okay, so when we are going to the movies, we get these warning signs. If it's like PG 13 or 16 or whenever it's rated, we get S and N and V. And in a movie, that stands for sex, nudity, and violence. But we are definitely not talking about those 3 things in maths. In maths, we talk about signs, numbers, and variables. Okay, so those are the 3 letters that I'm going to be saying so many times as we work through this course. And it's just a way to help you to remember, to think about each step really carefully, because often what happens when we do distributions, we rush ahead and we make silly mistakes. Okay, so let's look through this step by step. When we're dealing with distribution, let's have a look at this first question. What this is meaning is this is saying I want to have 4p and I need to multiply it by p, and I need to take 4p and I need to multiply it by -3. Okay, because that bracket there is saying multiply. So this is really saying 4p times everything in that bracket. And because it's everything in that bracket, it's really saying 4p times p and then plus 4p times -3. That's what we're doing. So we're multiplying it by the first thing, and then we're multiplying it by the second thing. Now, to write it out like this each time would just, it wastes time. And often what happens is it makes we make mistakes with signs. So what we try and do is we just do it step by step. Oh, if you can't see my screen, my best advice is to try and leave the call and come back in, and then often it pops up. Okay, so we're just going to go through this literally step by step. If we have 4p and we multiply it by p, what would my answer be if I have 4p times p? Tando.
It would be 4p squared.
Yes, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, 4p squared. Because remember, when we have a variable and we multiply it by another variable, it becomes x squared. And if we have a variable and we plus the same variable, we get 2x. Okay, and if we can remember this, we really are solid when it comes to algebra. Okay, good, 4p squared. Now we're going to take this 4p and we're going to multiply it by the -3. So we're going to do our steps. We're going to do signs. So we're going to start with signs. 4 is positive and we are multiplying it by a negative. When we have a positive and we multiply it by a negative, what do we get? So a positive and a negative gives us a, yes, beautiful. Positive and a negative gives us a negative. So we've done signs. Now we look at numbers. 4 times 3 gives us 12. I'm seeing some people in the chat. And then we look at our variables and we just left with our p. So we have p. So we have 4p squared minus 12p. Okay. Hopefully that didn't feel too nasty to anyone. And when we start learning about factorization later in the term, we're actually going to look at this and we're going to work backwards to get to that question. Okay, let's have a look at example 2. Now, example 2 is very, very similar to example 1. So I feel like everyone will be able to do it. I want you all to give example 2 a try. And kind of nasty, Belinda. Oh no. Give example 2 a try for me and let's see what your answers are. Chuck them in the chat for me so we can see how everyone's doing. Nice. Beautiful, guys. Precious, do you have a question? If you're talking, you need to unmute. Okay. Yeah. No.
Oh no, sorry. I thought something made a mistake. Sorry.
Okay, no problem. Okay, so we do the exact same thing. We say x times 2x, that's going to give us 2x squared. Now we're looking at our second one. We've got x times -5. A positive and a negative is a negative. If there was a number here, it would be a 1 because 1x and x are the same. So 1 times 5 is 5. And then our variable is x. Okay. Can we just quickly go through our multiplications of integers, just in case for anyone, if this is new for them, just so that they are all on the same track. Okay. Okay, if I have a positive times a positive, what do I get? So if I have a positive times a positive, is my answer positive or is my answer negative?
A positive.
Yes, guys.
A positive.
Solid. Good. Okay. If I have a negative times a negative, what is my answer going to be?
Positive.
Beautiful. And if I have one positive and one negative?
Negative.
Good. Okay. So just a little key for those of you who haven't done this in a while. If our signs are the same as each other, so a positive and a negative and a negative, then our answers are always going to be positive. And if our signs are different from each other, then our sign is going to be negative. Okay, so if the signs are the same, then it's positive. And if the signs are different, then it's going to be negative. All right. Yeah, it's way easier. Don't panic. We're going to fly through algebra. You're going to have a great time. Okay, this one, similar to the last one. Oh, I've zoomed all the way down. Okay, similar to the last one, it's just I've put a negative in a different place. Okay, so give this one a go for me. Remember your letters. One step at a time. Take your first term, multiply it by the first, and then multiply it by the second. Try and test yourself. See how this one goes.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Hi, Yusuf. How can I help?
Ma'am, are we allowed to answer verbally, or do we have to type it in the chat?
No, you're welcome to answer verbally.
Okay, ma'am, can I answer?
Can we give everyone just 30 more seconds and then I'll call on you, okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Thank you. Okay, so everyone give us a go, try it on your side, and then Yusuf is going to answer it for us. Oh. Be careful with your signs here. Don't fall for any trap.
Excuse me.
Hi, Sadie. How can I help?
I'm fine, and you?
Good, thank you.
I'm good. So I need help. So if it's negative 2x times it by x, does it mean it's going to be negative 2x squared?
Yes, exactly. Well done.
Okay, thank you so much.
No problem. Okay, Yusuf, let's go. Tell me what my answer is.
Negative 2x squared minus negative 6.
Yeah, so you can say minus 6. What's missing there though?
X.
Yes.
X. Yeah.
Okay, don't forget the X. So just so that everyone's happy with how we did this, the first thing is we took the negative 2x and we multiplied it by x. A negative and a positive is a negative. 2 times 1 is 2, and x times x is x squared. Okay, then we took the negative 2 and we multiplied it by a positive. So a negative and a positive is a negative. 2 times 3 is 6, and x times our variable is our x. So just be careful with that. Okay. Well, I'm just having a look through the chats over here and seeing what's going on.
Sorry, ma'am.
Bontle, can I help?
Ma'am, how did you get the 6 again?
Okay, so the 6 came from saying so my sign was negative. Then I look at my numbers and I've got 2 and I'm multiplying it by 3. So 2 times 3 gives me my 6, and then my variable is just an x.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
No problem. Sasibo, can I help?
No, ma'am, I understand.
Okay, sorry, I just saw you were unmuted. Okay, let's have a look at example 4. Now, example 4, I'm going to bring in another step. You don't, it's not a compulsory step. It just does help you prevent making some mistakes. Okay. So this step, well, the first thing we want to do is we want to identify the terms. So we want to find our terms in this algebraic expression. Who can tell me how terms are broken up? What breaks up one term and another? Oh, Sebi, tell me.
I think they broken up by the trinomial, binomial, or monomial, something like that.
Okay, not quite. So binomials are if we have like that's, for example, would be a binomial. Trinomial just means I have the three terms, but that doesn't mean that they're being broken up like that, if that helps.
Can I
Thank
please
you
ask
for
a question?
Yeah, sure.
Is this a trinomial?
This is not a trinomial, no.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Sure.
Ma'am, are they broken up by signs?
They are broken up by signs. Guys, I love the enthusiasm. I do. I love it so much. Please, can we remember to put up our hands when you're wanting to chat? And then I promise I'll call on you. But otherwise, everyone unmutes at the same time, and then people lose the chance in talking. Okay. So if you're wanting to call, just put up your hand. I promise I'll call on you. Don't panic. Just let's try and stick to that rule. All right. Thanks, guys. Okay. So it definitely is the signs. So pluses and minuses, they break up terms. Okay. But something binds terms together. There are things that bind terms. So pluses and minuses break terms apart. And then there's something that makes them come together. Can anyone think of what brings them together? Brackets, yes. Okay, good. Brackets brings them together. Lichle?
Brackets.
Lichle, your hands up. If you're wanting to answer, you need to unmute.
Brackets.
Yeah, we've already got brackets. Do you have something else? Letabo? Okay, brackets, multiplication and division, all of those bind terms together. So pluses and minuses break them apart, and brackets, multiplication and division bind them. So when we're looking at this expression that we've got over here, this little minus sign is breaking up my terms because this minus sign is being bound by these brackets. So it doesn't create different terms. So if I'm wanting to identify my two different terms in this expression, I've got 5a and then I've got 3a times 2a minus 1. Those are my two terms in this expression. So the first thing I'm doing is I'm identifying the terms. And you're going to see why we're going to do that now. Okay. Once we have identified the terms, our second step is we are going to simplify each term. Okay, so we're going to simplify each term as we go along. In this first one, I've got 5a. Is there anything I have to do to 5a to simplify it? Do I have to do anything fancy to it? Does it need to be multiplied by anything? Does it need to be subtracted from anything? Or is it just 5a?
It's just 5a.
It's just 5a. Okay, 5a. Now we look at our second term. Second term is this guy over here. Now, if I'm simplifying that term, I have to multiply this 3a into my bracket. So I have to take this and multiply it into there. So I have a negative multiplied by a positive, which is a negative, 3 times 2, which is 6, and a times a, which is a squared. Then I take it into my second term. I've got a negative and a negative, which is a positive. 3 times 1 is 3, and then just a positive a for a. So we have simplified each term. We've simplified our first term, we simplified our second term by using distribution. Okay, then our last step that we have to do is we add or subtract, depending on what we have to do, our like terms. Okay, so in this question, I've got 5a over here and I've got 3a over there, and they are the same as each other. They are both a's, so they are like terms, so I can add them. So my final answer here is going to be 8a, because I've got 5a plus 3a, and then I'm going to subtract 6a squared. Okay, so this looks like it was a lot, but it's just because I've gone through it slowly and step by step. Don't panic. It's not going to be super scary. I just want you to think of these 3 steps. The first step that you think of is identifying the terms. The second step you think of is simplifying each term. And then the third step is looking for your like terms. Okay. Bonne Claire, how can I help?
Ma'am, can you please repeat the whole example again? Because I was a bit confused.
We will be doing another one just like this. I'm not going to go through this one just again, but I will give you another one that's quite similar to it.
All right, no problem.
Okay, Keldon.
Ma'am, if you put negative a squared first plus 8a, is the answer still right?
Yeah, negative 6a squared.
Yes, ma'am, I had
Yeah,
that.
that's totally fine. Totally fine. Cool. Okay, so let's try one that's quite similar to this. Let's look at this one over here. The only thing that's different is that instead of having just the one, we've got 2 terms here. So our first step is we want to identify our terms. We've got 1 term over there, and we've got 1 term over there. That's our first step. Okay. Second step is we want to simplify each term. So that was our first step. First step is identify terms. Second step, we are going to use distribution to simplify each term. So if you are wanting to work on this on your side, what I'd love for you to do is just work on the second step so far and take that 2y and multiply it into the first bracket, and then take this plus 3y and multiply that into your second bracket. And you should get an answer that has got 4 different terms. And then we're going to go from there. So everyone, all I'd like you to do at this point is multiply that 2y into the first bracket and the 3y into the second bracket, and let me know what you get from that step. And then we will go over our next step after that. Okay, Songe, I am liking what I am seeing. Great. Lovely, Keldon. Okay, I'm going to go through this first step with you, and then we'll move on to our second step. Okay. Okay, so our first step is we're just looking at this 2y and we're multiplying it into our first bracket. So first thing, I've got 2y times y. So 2 times 1 is 2. Y times y is y squared. Then I'm taking it into my -1. Positive and a negative is a negative. 2 times 1 is 2. And then I have a y. Okay. Now I look at my second bracket. 3 times 1 is 3. Y times y is y squared. And then a positive times a negative is a negative. 3 times 7 is 21. And I have a y. Okay. Now, if you, at this point over here, what I would love to know from everyone is, and if you feel embarrassed, you're welcome to send a direct message, so don't panic. If you got this blue part, that's 1. And if you got this green part, that's 2. So I would like to know if you got 0 out of 2, 1 out of 2, or 2 out of 2. And you can put it in the chat. You can send me a direct message. I just want to get an idea of where everyone is at this point. Beautiful, guys. You're smashing it.
Hi, ma'am.
Hi, Yusuf. Please remember to put up your hand.
Sorry, ma'am. I'm
okay.
sorry to interrupt the lesson again. I wanted to ask, are we also going to be doing trinomials, binomials, and monomials?
So monomial is just one term, but we are going to do binomials. We're doing binomials on Thursday.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Because they're a little bit confused. Like the type 1, a little bit confusing.
They can be a bit confusing, but we'll tackle them on Thursday. Don't panic. Yes, you are smashing it. Well done, Lutando. Okay, so now we've done our second step. We did our first step, which was identifying our terms. Keldon, how can I help?
Hi, ma'am. Ma'am, will we be doing FOIL in this lesson?
No, we'll be doing FOIL in the lesson on Thursday.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. Okay, so from here, what we're going to do is we are going to find our like terms. So I've got 2y squared over there, and I've got 3y squared over there. They like, we could say they're similar to each other. And then I've got -2y, and I've got -21y. Okay, so our step that we are working on currently, this third step, is finding our like terms and either adding or subtracting them. Okay. So I've got 2y squared over here, and I am adding 3y squared. So 2 plus 3 is going to give me 5y squared. And then I've got -2y minus another 21. So -2 minus 21 is going to give me -23y. And that would be our final answer. Achumile, can I help? Do you have a question? Nice. Okay, let's try another one. How did this one go? I'm seeing good answers, so that seems good so far. Great. You got it right. Nice job, Vanessa. Awesome. Okay. Now it looks scarier, but it's not. Okay. All that's happening here is now, instead of going into only two things, we're going to go into all of one. So my first question for you here, let's see if anyone can get it right, is how many terms are in this expression? So in this whole expression, how many terms do I have? So some of the answers coming in, I see 1, I see 2, 2, 1. Seems like what people are either thinking it's 2 or 1. 5, Alvarez. 3 or 4. We've got a 5. Also think 3. And I would like to give a big shout out to everyone who said 1, because this is 1 term. Okay. Just to be careful, remember these brackets are binding everything in there. They are making everything inside those brackets. They are making it 1. And then we are multiplying that negative xy squared. So all of that becomes 1 term because we're using brackets and we're using multiplication. Okay, Achimile, I see you are unmuted now. Can I help? Okay, so it's 1 term, Letabo. It's 1 term. The whole thing is 1 term. 1 term. Everything is bound together because of the brackets and because of the multiplication. It's all 1 term. So the only thing that breaks up terms is pluses and minuses. So if we had a look at this, we could think, oh, well, there's a plus there and there's a minus there. So that should break it up. But it's definitely not breaking it up because these brackets are binding everything together. So they make them 1. And then over here, that would be a multiplication, which is another thing, which would be multiplied. Is my screen not showing to anyone else? Oh, it seems to be fine for most people. Okay. Okay, cool. Okay, so all we have to do here, because it's 1 term, all we have to do is we need to take this first term and we need to multiply it into the first one. And then we need to take it and we need to multiply it into the second one. And then we need to take it and we need to multiply it into the third one. That is all we have to do over here. So everyone give this a try. You should get an answer where you have 3 different terms in your answer. Yes, so if there was exactly Sisipo, if there was a sign before the bracket, it would be 2 terms. Well done, that was so beautifully asked. So if I had like x minus 2x plus 1, for example, that minus over there would break it up, and then I would have 1 term, 2 terms. Well done, that was a beautiful spot. Okay, I'm seeing great answers coming through. Yes, good. Okay, remember to think about your signs, your numbers, your variables. It stops you from forgetting something as you're working through. Okay, so let's have a look at our first one. A negative and a negative is a positive. And then we've got numbers. 1 times 2 is 2. X times x is x squared. And then we've got a y squared. Okay, next one. A negative times a positive is a negative. 1 times 3 is 3. We've just got 1x and we've got y squared and y, which makes it y cubed. Last one, we've got a negative and a negative, which gives us a positive. 1 times 8, which is 8. And our variables, we've got x, y squared. And that would be our full answer. Alvarez, tell me where you are getting lost. Yes, you would lose marks if you didn't do the last step. Exactly. Algebra is so much more fun when you actually understand what's going on. Oh, okay. Alvarez, don't panic about that part at the moment. That will start coming with practice. As long as you understand the multiplication process, then I'm happy. But we will talk about more with terms as we move on, so please don't panic. If your multiplication is going okay, then I'm fine. Okay, so Vanessa, just be careful when you're working with your signs. Just always keep in mind, have I got a negative and a negative and a negative and a positive? No, Ethan, most people don't. So FOIL only comes in when we have got two terms over here. Like if I have 2x minus 8, and then let's say I had x plus 1, then I would use FOIL, because that's a binomial times a binomial, and that we're going to do on Thursday. But when I just use SMD because I find it as an easy thing to help you remember when you do multiplication and division. It's not like a maths thing. It's a me thing. Don't panic. Okay, let's try. Oh, it's puzzle time. Okay, for those of you who are new, about halfway through the lesson, we always try and do a quick brain break. So something which is like something a little bit different to get you to think in a different way. And in this case, I am wanting to find out what the red triangle is. So when you have an answer, you can check it in the chat. Now let's see where, yes, we are multiplying everything in the bracket with a negative xy squared. Exactly. So once you have an answer for your red triangle, put your answer in the chat for me so that I can see what you think it is. Yes, Brendan, you will have a little quiz on Thursday, which will have this distribution and it will have some binomials. Imad, so quick. Are you able to explain how you got it? Oh, no, that's okay if you don't understand this. This is just something to make you think a little bit outside the box. Don't panic. The triangle is definitely 1. Is anyone feeling who got 1? Is anyone feeling brave enough to try and answer, to talk me through it? Okay. Let's go through. So if I have a look at my first line, I've got 2 circles that are the same as each other and they need to equal 10. So what does my green circle equal? That one should have been easy to find.
5.
Yeah, nice job, guys. Okay, so my green circle is 5. I'm going to put a 5 wherever I have a green circle. Okay. Next step. I know that I've got 5 times something that has to happen first, and then I have to plus that same thing, and I need to get 12. So if I have 5, exactly, if I have 5 times 2, that's going to give me 10, and 10 plus 2 is going to give me 12. So now I know that that yellow block is going to be 2. And then I know that 5 times 2 is 10, minus something times 5 needs to give me 5, which means my triangle has to be 1, because 1 times 5 is 5. So my triangle is 1. So well done to everyone who got 1. Liekle, do you have a question? Can I help?
I was going to answer the question, but it's already passed.
Yeah, and then I just ran in there. Sorry about that. It is definitely 1, guys. So triangle is 1. If you got there, well done. If you didn't, don't panic. Let's get our minds back into algebra mode. Okay, let's have a look at this one. So in this question, the first thing I'm going to ask you is how many terms does this expression have? How many terms does this expression have? Let's see. Try and put your answers. Nelisiwe. Yes. Are you going to answer for me?
Ma'am, it has 2 terms, ma'am.
2 terms.
Yes, ma'am.
I disagree.
Has 3 terms.
It has got 3 terms. 3 terms. Okay. 1, 2, 3 terms. 3 terms. Let's look at why. Remember, everything in that bracket is one thing and it's being multiplied by the 7ab. This guy is just by himself And then here, again, that AB is being multiplied by everything in that bracket. Okay, so we land up with just 3 terms over here. But remember, if you're not getting this 100% right yet, don't panic. It's just going to help us as we work through it. Okay. Okay, now that we have identified our terms, the next thing that we need to do is we need to simplify each term. So we're going to take our first thing and we're going to multiply it into the brackets. Our 3AB, there's nothing happening with that 3AB. And then here, we're going to multiply that AB into those brackets. So that is the first thing I would like everybody to do. So I want you to get a line over here where you're going to land up with 5 different terms. And once you've done that, put them in the chat for me so I know you're done. And then we can chat about what you got. You're doing really well, guys, especially those of you who haven't done this in class yet and you're getting them right. I'm really proud of you. Maybe don't drink chocolate milk at this time of night then, though. Songe always coming in with beautiful answers. Keep it going, guys. Keep trying. I'm going to give you a little bit more time to give this one a go, just to get your next line. And then we'll try and chat. But just keep trying, keep asking questions. You're doing well. Oh no. You know what though? It just takes time and practice, time and practice. Okay. Does anyone need a bit more time for the first line? Not for your final answer, just for the next line. Okay, I'll give you a bit more time. Achimile, just try and go through it step by step with me when we go through it together. Okay, let's go through this one thing at a time. I'm not going to rush it. We're just going to go through it super slowly. Okay, so I'm going to start by looking at this first term over here. Okay, and I have 7AB times B. So my signs, they're both positive. So it's going to be positive. My numbers, I have 7 times 1, which is 7. And then my variables, I've got 1A. And then I've got this B and this B, which is going to make that B squared. That's my first term. Then we look at our second one. A positive times a negative is going to give us a negative. 7 times 5 is 35. And then my variables, I just have that AB. Okay, so that's my first part. My second term, there's nothing I have to do to it, so it's just negative 3AB. Just what it is. Okay, and then my last one over here, I'm going to take my AB and I'm going to multiply it by negative 3. So a positive and a negative is a negative. 1 times 3 is 3, and my variables are AB. Okay, and we look at our second one. Positive and a positive is a positive. 1 times 1 is 1. I have 1A, and then I've got a B multiplied by another B, which is going to give me a B squared. So that gives me my second line. Okay. Can you give me an idea of how the second line went? So if you understood absolutely nothing and you got nothing right and you feel hopelessly lost, give me a 0. If you got it all right and you're feeling good, give me a 10. Somewhere between 0 and 10, can you give me a number of how this went? I love the star. Vanessa, well done. And if you're somewhere in the middle, that's great. We have room to improve. Don't panic. Beautiful. I think often what happened, no, you don't have to write the 1. So that doesn't need to be there. I just find it helps some people. So I put it in. Nice job, guys. So accurate, Jasmine. I love the decimals. Cool. Okay. I think those of you who maybe were sort of somewhere in the middle, it might have been to do with signs. So just always be careful. And then sometimes the other thing that's easy to forget is the variables going through to the second term. So like often that AB falls away and isn't there. So that's why I know that this sounds silly, but thinking of those 3 things each time, it really helps us remember to put everything together so we don't forget anything. Okay, so now we've done this step. Now we have to find our like terms and we've got to try and add them together. So I've got this 7ab squared, and then I've got this plus 1ab squared. And then I have got this negative 35ab. I've got negative 3ab, and I've got another negative 3ab. So I've tried to help you. I've highlighted them. Have a look at those. And once you are happy, try and figure out what our final answer would be here. Be careful of your signs. Nice job, guys. Beautiful. Oh, Songe, careful, careful, your signs. Yolanda, also be careful of your signs. Nice. Okay. So I have 7ab squared and I'm plussing 1ab squared. So that's going to give me 8ab squared. And then I have negative 35. Now I'm minusing another 3. So negative 35 minus 3 is going to give me negative 38. And then I minus another 3. So I get negative 41 AB. Now, if you're not great with your integers and you're worried about making a mistake, use your calculator. Once you've done this highlighting step, you can use your calculator. Put into your calculator negative 35 minus 3, and it will tell you that it is negative 41. So even though it's algebra, we can use our calculator to help us and make sure we get the right answer in the end. Okay, nice job. Okay, let's try and get the right signs though, but at least we're working on the right numbers. Okay. Calvin, just be careful where your square is. Cool. Glue down. Plus on the second. 3, 8. Oh. Yeah, okay, so that's why we always just have to be careful that a positive and the negative is a negative. But Brendan, the good news is that because in maths we have continued accuracy marks, if you had written a plus 3ab in this step over here, so if that over there had been a plus 3ab, then you would have gotten this mark if you had done that step right. So and if you had said minus 35ab, you would have gotten it right. That's why we love continued accuracy marks. Okay. I'm sure your math teacher is a delight. Okay, example 8. How many terms does this have? How many terms does this expression have? Sasipo says 2. Do we agree? Do we disagree? Oh, you guys are getting much better at this. That makes my heart happy. Good.
We agree, miss.
We agree. Yes, Alile, we agree. We have definitely got 2 terms in this situation. We have got 1 term over here and we've got 1 term over there. And that minus sign is breaking up our 2 terms. Okay, so first step, the first step that we've done, all we've done is, let's do it in pink so we're being color coordinated. First thing that we did was we identified our terms. Okay. Next step, we should know this off by heart now. Next step is simplify each term. And our last step is add or subtract like terms. I would like you to do all of this from the beginning to the end and give me one final answer. So I've helped you with the first step. I identified your terms. Well, you identified them. I just confirmed you were right. And then once you have an answer, let me know. And then I'll show you where the marks would be given in a question like this. And you can see what you would have gotten in total. Ooh, we have our first answer that's come in.
This is not the answer.
Do you have a question? Let's see who can get this. I'm seeing, so I can confirm that I have seen the correct answer in the chat. There are lots of different answers happening in the chat, but I can confirm that at least one of the answers in the chat is correct. And some are half correct, and some are 2/3 correct. Okay. Let me take you out of your misery and go through the first step. Let's see who lands up getting full marks for this question. Okay, first step, simplify each term. So I'm going to take this -3 into everything. I'm going to think about my signs. So I have a negative and a positive, which is a negative. 3 times c squared, 3c squared. A negative times a negative is a positive. 3 times 4 is 12, and my variable is c. Oh, sorry, Brendan. I can definitely give you more time. You snuck in there just in time before I went off on a maths monologue. Okay. My third part, I have a negative times a positive, which gives me a negative. And then I've got 3 times 11, which is 33. That's my first part done. If you got those right, well done. Now I look at my second term. Negative 4c times c. A negative and a positive is a negative 4 times 1 is 4. C times C is C squared. A negative times a negative is a positive. 4 times 7 is 28, and my variable is C. So I land up with that step. Okay, now what you're going to mark yourselves, we're going to give so many marks. We're going to go mark crazy. It would not be worth as many marks in the test, okay? I want you to give a mark for every single one of those. So at the moment, if you got all of those right, and when I say right, I mean including the signs, you can give yourselves 5 marks so far. Okay, then we're going to look at our like terms. So we've got negative 3c squared minus 4c squared. So negative 3c squared minus 4c squared is going to give me negative, well, let me do this in a different color, negative 7c squared. Okay, now I'm going to look at my next part. I've got 12c plus 28c, which is going to give me 40c, and then I've got my minus 33. So you're going to get another mark for the negative 7c and another mark for the 40c. So out of this whole thing is out of 7. How did this question go? I did see a couple who got it 100% right, which was awesome. A few people made a mistake over there with the 40c. Well done, guys. I'm so proud of you. You did awesome. Really good work. And just remember, the thing with maths is it's just about practice. The more effort you put in, the more sort of reward you'll see every time. That's how maths works. And on that glorious note, Jasmine, can I answer your question?
Where did the 40C come from?
So the 40C came from having 12C plus 28C. So 12 plus 28 gives me 40. Okay, guys, I need to leave you to go to my grade 10s, but I'm leaving you with Eric. So if you have any last questions, please feel free to ask him. And I will, science take time, but you will get better at them. And I will see you all on Thursday when we'll be doing FOIL. Have a lovely evening. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye.